Hi everyone. Today we will talk about controllers in Laravel framework. If you remember, in our previous class we have studied views and routes and the blade syntax, the blade engine, and in a blade syntax we have studied two methods, blade templating and blade inheritance, and those are were mostly related about the views. So today we will talk about controllers. Controllers in Laravel are classes that group related HTTP request handling logic, meaning to say we are actually in a controller classes. These are basically classes that we create, and later on I will show you how to create. So in that classes we write functions about how to handle the HTTP request, and sometimes we need to apply some extra logic. And you know that controllers are the intermediaries between the view and the model. Okay, so these controller manage application flow, that what type of data will come from the model and how it will be presented to the user as a view. So controllers are in the middle. Okay, now how controller are important in a web development. So controller play a very crucial role. Why? Because it keep the code organized, maintainable, and reusable. uh, Organized means in this way that it will be not mixed with the view. If in a conventional way of web page development, if you remember, we are using HTML, CSS, PHP, JavaScript. So all these things are mixed, and the code related to database, the code related to the interface, and all the codes are mixed. So here, in case of Laravel, if you are using the MVC model, so that will be organized. Specific code logic related will be in controllers, presentation will be in the views, and code related to a database will be in the models. And in this way it is easy to maintain, and once we define some class, our controller, we can reuse that again and again. So in this way we can separate the logic, we can separate the code from each other, and it will be cleaner code. Now there are different type of controllers. uh, some are very basic controllers, they only handle the HTTP request. Okay, but some are operational controllers, meaning to say they are called resource controllers. And when we are creating these controllers, you will have to specify that this is a resource controller. And mostly resource controllers are for database operations. And you know that CRUD stands for creating a data, or reading data from a database, or updating data from inside a database, or deleting some data in a database. So this CRUD operation using the resource controller makes it very easier, very organized, and in a very systematic way. And some controllers are single action controller. So if they are single action controller, so we will specify that these are single action, and the single action function will be defined inside that. So uh, how the controller works and how we will deal with the controller. Controller are connected to routes okay, because the function inside a controller will be linked to any route, and you know that routes are working on URL and the user address that they are looking for. So every controller must have a route. And then some controller pass extra data, like for example the resource controller. So those resource controller, if they have some specific operations on databases, then we can send some parameters using these controllers. And later on, these controllers can provide logic to access the data or modify the data in such a way that it is uh, best presented for the user. Now, how to create a controller? So note the point that controllers are in Laravel. This is a Laravel directory structure. Controllers are under the app directory, and then under the HTTP folder. So app folder, then HTTP folder, and inside controller folder. So these are all the examples of different controller. So the Laravel system, actually we will use command prompt, but the command prompt will automatically create the controller inside this. Okay, so this setting has been already done. So we will have to open command prompt. Uh, and I showed you in our last class that how to run the project, and how to create a command prompt in the same folder, and how to open Visual Studio in that folder. So the command which is used to create a controller is this one: php artisan make controller. This is the command, and after that you can give any name that you want. Okay, but just note that it following the Laravel naming convention, that if the controller name is one word, then the first character will be capital, and if the controller name is two words like welcome and controller, then the first character of each word will be uh, capital letter. So in from this, then because the controller is a class, and we always create a class name with uppercase letter. This is a naming convention in the professional coding. So once you run this command will automatically create here a controller for you. Second, then you go to this folder using your editor, let's suppose Visual Studio Code. You go to this folder, open the controller, and when you open the controller, then you create this type of function inside the controller. For example, if you want to return a simple view from the controller, then you can just create a public function index and then return the view. And if you remember, previously we were using the same type of function in routes. Okay, now you see, now we are returning the view through controller, but remember we will have to create a route also for this. So the third step is to create a route, and you know routes are inside the route folder in web.php. So every route must be registered here. So this line must be imported when you are creating a route. If you are using the extension, then this line will be automatically imported for you. If not, then you will have to import manually. Okay, some tutorial, maybe if you have seen, they are using this syntax, that route, uh, mm, scope resolution operator, and the get method, and this will be the home address, the home page, and after that brackets and the controller name, scope resolution operator class, and slash index. And it means that this route is calling this index function, and when this call the index function, it will return the view. Okay, but I have checked, actually this coding is not working. Okay, maybe you can also check. So the correct syntax is like this. So you will write a route, a scope resolution operator, get, and then the relative path until the controller, and then add sign index, and this path will be in a single quotes as a second argument and under this braces. So create a controller, define a function inside the controller, what type of functionality you want. Okay, this one is a simple example. In a resource controller, there will be functions for insert data, for delete data, for update data. We will study that one in our next class. And once you create the function there, then create a router for that. And once you do all these three steps, then later on you can check uh, the result of this in a browser. So you see this welcome, we are actually trying to see the welcome page, but you see the flow is not that simple that it directly display the page. No, it will go to the controller class will be called, the class will, inside the class this function will be called. It's like this, that the browser will call the router. Okay, the browser, when we type like this, it will call the router call the class, inside the class this function, and the function return the view. Okay, now the actual interface that where you will have to create, when you open command prompt like this, then you can write like this: PHP artisan make controller. And this one I just want to show you that if you want you want extra help or further details that how this command works, the make controller, in case you can use any other Laravel command. You type that PHP artisan and then the command that you want to study further, and after this dash dash help. So you will see the detailed explanation of that. In this case, you see it shows that this command only need the name of the controller, then, and that will be basically the name of the class later on. Okay, so in this way you can get help about any Laravel command, and the actual one that you want to create the controller, then PHP artisan make controller, and you can give any name and then press enter, then the controller will be created for you, and you can see the controller now in your code editor under the apps, and then under HTTP, and then under controller folder, the controller that you created. And when you click that one, it will open like this. So you see basically it is a class. You see class with the same name. Okay, and it extends inherit from the built-in controller class. Okay, and inside this you can create as many functions as you want. So in this case, it is a simple function index, and it returns the welcome view. And after that you will open the web.php, okay, to create a route for that, and I have already shared the code with you that how to create a route for that. The next topic that I want to share with you, some configuration of Laravel. When you open Laravel project like this, you see this is the same directory structure. So here is one file which is called .env. This .env file contain all the all the configuration related to your project. For example, the name of the project is here. If you want to change the name of your project, you just come to this file and change here. And if you are developing the project code on your local computer, so this will be local. And if it is an website that you have already hosted, then this will be the full host server URL. This is the unique key of every project that Laravel creates. And this one is just debugging information. It is true in a developing mode, because when you are creating the project, the errors should be displayed in a detailed way that you should understand what is the problem. But when you host the you complete the project and you host for the user, then change this to false. This one is um, the basic URL. Okay, the next important point that I want to share with you is this part. This is related to the database, and later on you will use database, and you know that the most important component is the model, which is the database component. So these informations are about the database, like what type of database you are using. In case of MySQL, so it will be MySQL. If you are using other database, change here. Okay, the host name is MySQL, the port name is this one, and this will be the database name. Okay, so if your database name is different, so you should change this name here. Sorry for the drawing. The PowerPoint has, I think, some issue. And this will be the username. In my case it is cell, and the password is password. In your case you should change accordingly. For example, if you are using the default user root and no password, change this to a root and change this to nothing. Okay, and these are the some configuration which is very important. Another one important point that I want to share with you, that you see these are very basic information which is related to the security of the project. So sometime when we are developing code in a group, or let's suppose we are uploading to GitHub or using Git to create the code, then this file, which is the .env, this file should not be uploaded to Git. Okay, therefore Laravel manage this thing for us. How? Laravel manage one file which is called git ignore, dot git ignore, and this is the dot git ignore. So here you will mention all the files that you don't want that it should be uh, synced with Git. So you see the .env is mentioned here. So meaning to say, this file will be not uh, uploaded to GitHub or Git. Okay. So in this way, any file that is related to a secure information, just mention that file name here. Okay, and if you want that this type of information should be shared with your co-developers, then Laravel manage that one also for us. There is another file which is .env.example. Okay, so this .env.example file is containing almost similar information, or you can share with your co-developers this file, but not the actual .env file. So these are the some basic concepts about controllers. uh, so I hope you understand, and you will try to apply this in your practice.